key of the game and I won't be swayed. But there's something I need, something to push me higher. Talk show Chris Collins and HenricK, they're on fire. They're watching all the rage quitters, exposing them with pain. They keep it gaming real, that's why they get all my respect from me. Rage quit, Chris and HenricK, don't you ever stop. You're the voice of the gamers, splintering rage quitters on the spot. With your wit and laughter, you're the champions we need. Rage quit, Chris and HenricK, you're the heroes of the gaming breed. Turn around the video game mayhem. Chris Collins and HenricK, the rat bring the chaos. Gaming news and industry talk, they got it all. Rage quitting, head banging, it's a metal brawl. Mental meltdown, gaming in flames. Chris and HenricK bringing the thunderous rage. Video games and viral content. They're the kings, ripping through pixels, the ultimate gamer getaway. The ultimate. Rave over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage, talking gaming news, industry that can't escape. We're reviewing video games, no need to debate. They bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scams, they expose it all, making sure no one jams. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. You know it's a code. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. Rage quit. Rage quit. I'm losing my mind. Chris and HenricK, they're fucking gaming all the time. Rage quit. Rage quit. It's a love-hate affair, but I keep coming back and nothing else to compare. Rage quit.
Hey, what's raging, gamers? Hey, the countdown just kind of just said, let's go. Let's get this thing into high gear. I've never seen that happen before. But hey, welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. I hope everybody that's tuning in live, whether it is Meta, YouTube, or Twitch, hey, join along for the ride because the chat box is open. I love to see you guys join in on the conversation because we got so many goodies to discuss here on Rage Quit. But before we even begin, I feel like this is at a very, very appropriate time just to give a quick shout out to anybody that has been supporting the show for a while and has not yet subscribed. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show. And also the homeboy, co-host HenricK. He is out for today's show, but this is his QR code to send you directly to his YouTube channel. So I know he would also love your support as well. But we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that's been circulating all across the World Wide Web when it comes to all things gaming. And so let's break it down because picture this. A mom finally hits her breaking point. Every day her son comes home from work and school, drops his bag, and immediately clocks in for overtime on his PS5. I mean, forget dinner, forget conversation. Man's already running full court press in NBA 2K like it's the finals. So, mom decides to stage an intervention. But not with the yelling. Oh, no. She comes with cash. She offers him $500 a week to quit playing NBA 2K. That's right, $500 every week. So if you do the math, and your boy Chris Collins got you covered, that's $26,000 a year just to not pick up a controller. And I gotta say, just gotta be real, that's a full salary to stop playing video games. So now, for anyone that's a non-gamer who's ever, tried to bargain with the gamer, you already know this story doesn't end with logic or responsibility, because when you tell a gamer to quit cold turkey, that's like asking a cat to stop knocking things off the table. It's in our DNA. So, how do you think he responded? Did he take the money? Did he uninstall the game? Or did he just cross over his mom like she was guarding him in the paint? Let's go ahead and take a look.
Okay, proposition. $500 a week, stop playing 2K.
Not gonna happen. That's not
I'm gonna repeat myself. $500 a week.
You don't have to repeat yourself. Like I said, it's not gonna happen.
500, you will turn down 500 a week to keep playing 2K?
Okay, so if I gave you 500 a week to stop doing your hair and your nails, then what you doing?
I'm not taking it.
Okay, then you get married. We're on the same page. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, come on now. Okay, so what am I supposed to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
You gonna have $500 extra dollars, you can go do it live.
No, I don't want to be outside with the goons.
I know that's right, baby, outside with the goons, but $500 a week.
No.
I love that he had to throw in towards his mom. He's like, that's like you stopping paying for, your hair and your nails. I don't want to go outside and hang out with the goons. It's not about touching grass. I just don't want to hang out with the goons. And I don't know if anybody else noticed in that video, like, does anybody else black marker Sharpie their PS5 like that? I kind of cringed a little bit. I'm like, oh gosh, no, don't ever do that, please don't be that person. But let's go ahead and dive right on into the comments, because the first one read, I'd take the bread and play Madden. Ooh, I don't think she would have saw that one coming. But then again, I don't think his mom would have paid him. I don't think that's how it works, but it's a good thought. He could have maybe tried at least to see what could have happened. he know, she cap. Yeah, I have a feeling that's the same thing as well. I mean, all it's going to take is maybe 2 weeks. She pays $1,000 out, and then all of a sudden she's like, don't you feel better about yourself? Don't you feel that it's nice to move the Ham Hawkins and get outside and actually shoot a real basketball? And he's like, nah, fam. This is the best kind of relief after a long day of work or a long day in the office or at school. And then the last comment reads, playing the game is happiness. That's something money can't buy. Yeah, I don't know. Would you be that person that would stop playing video games if your mom or one of your loved ones offered you $500 a week to stop playing? Would you do it? I wouldn't. I'm not doing it. This is Rage Quit. After all, I'd be screaming to the fences. You're not going to threaten me like that, Mumsy. I love you, but you're not going to do that to me. All right? Your boys wants to play some video games, no different than everybody else likes to binge watch their favorite television shows, whether it's on cable TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime, wherever you go to watch your favorite programs. But let's keep things rolling because you ever think typing could be deadly? Well, move over, Fortnite. There's a new battle royale in town called Final Sentence, where one typo could literally get you killed. Yeah, this game doesn't drop you onto an island, but in front of a typewriter. And instead of a sniper rifle, you're armed with 80 words per minute and crippling anxiety. I mean, you're going to find out real quickly because what's the goal in the game? Well, you need to be the last writer standing. Accuracy and speed aren't just stats here, they're survival skills. And a free demo just dropped on Steam, and streamer Queso already went viral playing it. He's sweating bullets while an in-game man with a revolver to his head is forced to type for his life. So it's like Mavis Beacon. Does anybody remember that? I know, I'm sure some Gen Zers are like, what the hell is that? I mean, that was to teach you in like middle school how to type. It's like Mavis Beacon meets Squid Games. I mean, this might be the only battle royale where your real enemy isn't lag. It's autocorrect, so make sure you turn that thing off before you jump on in. So, gamers, be honest. If one typo could end you, how long would you last? Let's go ahead and take a look at Queso playing Final Sentence.
What is that letter? That's an I? I don't want to do this no more. Just shoot me. Hey, I don't want to do this no more for real. Just shoot me at this point. Just go ahead and take me out of here, big dog. I'm not going to lie. Please be alive, Brown. Please.
It is also kind of funny to me when you know that Queso's dominant form of video game play is through the PC, and then when you see him playing a typewriter kind of style of game and seeing him fail on screen miserably. I think it's hilarious. And, I think this could, the theme's very dark in this video game, but I think if they made like a very clean version of this video game, I think this could be very educational. I mean, computer science is on the move, coding, etc. I think the developer is onto something with this, and I know a lot of gamers around the world were commenting around this viral clip with the first one saying, every single player in this generation is utterly dead. I don't know about the millennials. I could be wrong. But I know with how my dad types on his iPhone, yeah, he's out. He's, I'm sure a lot of you gamers out there know a baby boomer out there that's like, holy cow, your eyeballs are just like, just hand me the phone, Pops. Let me get the sentence going for you. And then there's others where you just go, you look at the youth and they don't even know how to write cursive. Some of them don't even know what a check looks like, a floppy disk, a VHS cassette. And so you're going to rely on them to out-type you? No, I don't think so. You guys have to shrink down your words into acronyms. Not us. Not today. We got you every single time in the final sentence. And then we got another one that reads, now, this is for your entertainment. That has to be a Gen Z right there. That has to be. See, this is the point that I'm trying to make. He's condensing it down. I had to tell you. You probably didn't even know what FYE was. You probably thought it was that old TV channel. Is it even still around? I don't even know. But anyways, brings me back to computer class with the boys. That's the exact same feeling I was feeling when I was watching the trailer and Queso and a few other streamers online showcasing their gameplay, and I can't wait to jump in. I haven't tried it yet, but for damn sure, trust me, I'm going to be downloading that free demo. And then the last comment reads, ooh, I like this. A spelling bee battle royale. That's really clever. Just don't turn it into a DLC final sentence. Just don't do that. But thank the man right here, or woman, or whatever you identify with. I can't tell from your profile, all right? I'm sorry. But let's keep the things, let's keep the wheel rolling because, Battlefield players have been on their high horse lately, talking about how Call of Duty has lost its authenticity, how it's all explosions, skins, and 420 marketing. They've been out here preaching the gospel of, this realistic warfare like they're all military historians with their RGB keyboards. But here's the thing. For all the talk about that serious war simulation, it turns out that these Battlefield fans might be just a little unhinged themselves. And let's just say whatever you're about to see involves creativity, physics abuse, and a complete disregard for how drones were ever meant to be used in warfare. But yeah, maybe the real Battlefield isn't fought on the ground, but somewhere much, much dumber. So take a look at what's about to unfold on screen.
Keep it steady. Keep her steady. Nice. Yes. 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 Oh my god, wait, dude, that could be so sick. Into a snipe? Oh my god, jets flying below us. Oh my god!
I would hate to be that person on the other end, getting clipped and then circulated all across the World Wide Web, because that shot, I gotta say, that was freaking awesome. Have you been trying to do these kind of things in Battlefield 6 yet? I know it's been blowing up. I mean, there are early reports that they're making their money. There's reports that they've already gotten like over $350 million. So the hype is very real with Battlefield. And yeah, there's people that feel as though, like this comment, Battlefield loyalists punch the air right now watching Call of Duty players take over Battlefield with their shenanigans. Is that what's really going on? I feel like these kind of things have already happened before in the past with Battlefield. Am I missing something? Or is it only the thing that we complain about the most with Call of Duty is their Team Ricochet, their anti-cheat software, how they can't do a damn thing to clean up the lobbies, even though they want to tell you that 1% of the cheaters that were in the beta were already exiled from even being able to come back to Black Ops 7 to begin with. Do we buy that? Is Battlefield like the cleanest space ever to have the most legitimate space for real authenticity? Realistic warfare? I don't know, after all, but people acting like this ain't a Battlefield thing when we literally used to send tanks to space with suicide jeeps in Battlefield 4. Right? Or it's no different. Like, people would, like, everybody acted as though Call of Duty Warzone was the first to implement, putting C4 packs on, the ATVs and then blow them up and make them go higher. I mean, people were doing that even with their own vehicles, and then they would, it'd be like, hey, you got to do what you got to do for the troops. And maybe you got to sacrifice one of your digital hearts for the boys to take control of Command C or, one of the bases that is kicking your ass in these conquest modes. Someone's got to do their part. It's not like it's actually going to hurt you in real life. You got to do it, man. And then that's what Battlefield is all about. Breaking the game and taking advantage. Yes, and it's only been a couple weeks out already, but, they got a really, really cool game mechanics where they're going to allow you, the gamers, to be able to build upon your own maps, which I'm sure they love it because now you're going to be doing all the dirty work, not them so much anymore. But there was already people doing different renditions of Only Up inside of Battlefield 6, so I mean, you can make that comparison with Call of Duty and Fortnite, but if they start becoming this new sandbox interactive, it's going to get interesting very, very fast. But hey, this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, and this is your boy Chris Collins, and I can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live, whether it is Meta, YouTube, or Twitch. And I just want to take a moment for everybody that is tuning in live to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show. Take a moment, glance at it. What a beautiful artwork. I see myself in that image. What a strapping young lad. Look at him. Look at you, Pikachu, trying to catch a ball, baby. And also the homeboy, HenricK the Wreck. So make sure you take a screenshot, like, share, subscribe, as we're always bringing you fresh new content on a weekly basis. And so what are you waiting for, gamers? Are you ready to lock in? Because I am. Let's get it started, baby. Ooh. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Oh, Ubisoft never changes. So get this. Last July, word started leaking out that Ubisoft had quietly assassinated one of its own games. Not just any game, an ambitious new Assassin's Creed that would have taken players into the American Civil War, and more so, the Reconstruction era. Yeah. Imagine that. Instead of climbing towers in Italy or stabbing Templars in ancient Egypt, we'd finally be taking a leap of faith into one of the most defining and uncomfortable periods of American history. And the protagonist? A formerly enslaved black man who heads west for a new life, only to be recruited by the assassins and return to the South to take on injustice, including the rise of the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, that sounds bold. That sounds fresh. That sounds like a story with something to say. So, of course, Ubisoft said, nah, let's cancel it. I mean, developers were reportedly pumped to make it, but management in Paris decided to pull the plug. Why did they say that? Well, two big reasons. First, the online backlash earlier this year over Assassin's Creed Shadows, which, by the way, is already out and stars Yasuke, a black samurai, apparently had them sweating bullets. And second, Ubisoft thought the political climate in the U.S. was getting too tense. Right, because heaven forbid Ubisoft release a story that might mean something in a franchise built on assassinating corporate power structures. Wouldn't want gamers to, I don't know, think while stabbing. And so, even actor Ralph Ineson, yes, that Ralph, who not only plays Galactus in Fantastic Four First Steps, but actually voiced pirate Charles Vane in Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. So, he's a part of the Ubisoft family, and yet, when he heard the news, he didn't mince words. And if you missed his tweet, here it is on screen. On X, he reposted the story and simply wrote, once again, F off. And that's not a man who's just voicing a character anymore. He's voicing what everyone in the studio was probably thinking. And here's the thing. This isn't Ubisoft's first tango with controversy, whether it was letting Ezio throw hands with the Pope in Assassin's Creed 2, or Odyssey's DLC Shadow Heritage, which forced players, even after spending the entire game in a same-sex romance, into a heterosexual relationship and a surprise baby, for the bloodline. And Ubisoft's been tripping over its own messaging for years. They eventually apologized, saying they missed the mark, you think. But this one stings. Because instead of giving us a story that could have actually pushed the series and gaming forward, they backed down from a game that might have meant something. And what's also very ironic is, in truly ironic timing, Mark Alexis Cote, the Assassin's Creed franchise boss, who's been with Ubisoft for over 20 years, has just left the company, which really makes you wonder, did he jump, or was that leap of faith a little too real? So here's my question for the gamers. If the creed is nothing is true, everything is permitted, when did Ubisoft start adding, unless it's controversial, to the code? And that's where we jump into the comments, where a lot of gamers had lots of things to say surrounding Assassin's Creed's cancellation of a post-Civil War style game with the following. This could have been fire. With another follow-up comment that read, we need more games where we get to stab clan members. And then a follow-up comment that reads, the most satisfying encounter in Red Dead Redemption 2 was wiping out the clannies, with another one that follows, and then the slave smuggler units. Oh gosh, I can't even say that. Oh my gosh, that's a big word for me. In the library. Oh gosh, dude, that's bad. Someone's gonna lecture me, just like the final sentence when they had to do the spelling bee. If they told me how to spell that word out, I would have butchered it. No problem. But I mean, that is such a great point. It's no different than when you're playing like the Wolfenstein series. It's such a satisfying feeling to go after the Nazi regime and take them down completely. Yeah, it's a twist. It's never actually been historically accurate. I mean, when has Assassin's Creed ever been historically accurate? Ever in its existence. It's really just to kind of highlight a time where I think, video games can absolutely be an educational tool, or at least maybe pique an interest into someone who might not know of the times and might want to discover more about the history, whether it is positive or, in this case, Assassin's Creed would have took on a very serious topic, which I think would have been such a fantastic game to play. I think it would have been very revolutionary. But then you also get comments like this. I want people to let it sink in that the KKK being an antagonist is considered controversial. And then Rockstar over here like, burn them all. Make it make sense. It's crazy. And then I'd pay good money to play AC where I got to kill those treasonous losers. Absolutely. I mean, it's just kind of wild to think that, like, yeah, we understand that Ubisoft is, based all around the world, but the team is obviously more centralized and headquartered in Paris, France. And to feel as though they felt as a responsibility as a studio to not heighten the political tensions that is happening in the United States is a very wild move, considering, especially with the Yasuke. They got a lot of flack even before the game came out. I mean, there was people in the country of Japan who were just not for the idea of pushing a black samurai. They felt like it was better off that you could represent someone of their own ethnicity to push the game forward. And then if Yasuke was in the game as let's say as a side character, that's what more the understanding that I got when that was going down at the time, that the people of Japan wanted to see more often compared to like this, in the Reconstruction era. This makes a lot of sense to have a story around, an ex-slave who leaves to go west and then comes back to the South to go take down the conflict that would, among other things, see him confront the emergence of the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, I think it would have obviously been a very, very dark game. Clearly, Assassin's Creed is mature-only content. It's not like your little loved ones would be running to play this game. You wouldn't, unless you are a bad parent that would allow them to play these kind of, difficult topics. But then again, we do see little ones playing Fortnite and Roblox and Grand Theft Auto Online, but there's always going to be something that's going to rattle your feathers, and there's obviously going to be television shows that are going to show you heinous things that obviously make your skin just kind of roll up in a sense. And, sometimes uncomfortable themes need to be addressed, and one of the best places to do it is video games. And imagine the online discussion about that one. Discussion and discourse. I'm sure rational thoughts and measured takes all around. Of course. I would have been excited to hear how the protagonist should have not been African American. Yeah. People are already going there when it comes to the news around the Assassin's Creed game being canceled by the leadership within Ubisoft. Crazy stuff. And then we got another comment here that reads, while I didn't care for the Yasuke controversy because I thought he was an interesting character for the Assassin's Creed game, I find it amusing that they focused on a black man in Japan and decided backlash to that was the reason not to have a black main character in post-Civil War America, where a black man wouldn't be remotely out of place, odd, or unusual in any way. Okay, whatever. And honestly, I'd contend number 2 is a valid reason, especially given some of the weirder responses to Valhalla. People will get upset that the game wasn't accurately depicting the racism of the time, or that it did, or that it tried to be in the middle. As good of a setting for a game as Reconstruction could be, it's a little minefield for a casual game like Assassin's Creed, and I'm completely unsurprised a company as timid around its guns as Ubisoft decides to walk away. Well, clearly it made the franchise boss, who worked with Ubisoft for more than 20 years. He wasn't going to let top leadership ruin his franchise. And you're kind of seeing the same thing even behind the scenes, even with the Halo team. You know, you're wondering, like, what the hell's going on? Like, all these people that used to work with these iconic franchises are just like, dude, the people at the top, you know, the shareholders or the people that sit in those corporate rooms, they're just like, you don't understand the passion that the creatives want to make happen. And if they're not inspired, they'll move on. And then the last comment we got here is, this sounds interesting in my head, but I remember how much Ubisoft is terrified to ever actually lean into the political themes of anything they touch. And I worry about they'd actually handle a topic that, up until now, I was certain was very clear-cut, but apparently not. With the follow-up comment that reads, can't wait to see the Templar that was in control of the Confederacy and went underground railroad was the magic assassin stuff, and Abraham Lincoln went out at night and wore a weirdly elaborate hooded outfit with his dagger. I think the only thing you got wrong there, my friend, is probably not a Templar in the Underground Railroad. Maybe a vampire. Wouldn't that be something? Oh, man. But here's the question that I'll leave with you gamers. If Assassin's Creed is all about exploring history's hardest truth, what does it say when the real leap of faith Ubisoft's afraid to take is telling one? Let me know what's good. All right, let's keep things rolling because, gamers, it's time to settle a decades-long myth. Apparently, we're not all basement-dwelling trolls surviving on Red Bulls and regret. Who knew? So, you know, for years, pop culture painted gamers as lazy, antisocial dudes glued to their screens like Eric Cartman screaming, "Mom, bathroom!" during that World of Warcraft episode, or worse, those sci-fi movies that make it seem like plugging into the game means you're seconds away from losing your soul to the Oasis, as Steven Spielberg depicted in Ready Player One. But according to a new study by the Entertainment Software Association, that whole lonely teenage dude in a dark room image, totally outdated. The new average gamer is 41 years old, meaning half of us have lower back pain and a favorite loadout, if you know what I mean. And get this, 22% of gamers in the U.S. are 65 or older. That means your grandma might be fragging you in Call of Duty between rounds of solitaire. And the so-called gamer bros, yeah, they're being outnumbered too, because women make up 52% of gamers in America. So statistically speaking, your mom is more of a gamer than you are. And so, globally, women are nearly neck and neck with men in gaming. And in places like Brazil and South Africa, they actually dominate the leaderboards. Meanwhile, Italy has the oldest average gamer at 50 years old, and China has the youngest at 31, which is impressive considering that they're only allowed to play for, what, I don't know, like 3 minutes a week. And before anyone starts saying, well, you know, mobile games don't count. Yeah, no, they do. Tell that to the millions of people crushing Candy Crush or grinding World streaks like their lives depended on it. And the most popular gaming device on the planet isn't a console or PC. It's a phone. So sorry, Steam Deck. You're just the cool cousin everyone forgets to invite to the family reunion. And see, gaming today isn't just, you know, speed runs. It's puzzles, strategy, simulations, and even brain teasers like Sudoku and crosswords. I mean, they don't do the New York Times printing press like that no more. It's all digital, okay? You have to understand that. And so let's not, you know, you look at these images here. Oh, this is the one I wanted to show you. The ESA found that 76% of gamers say it helps with problem solving, and half claimed it even boosted their careers. So the next time someone says video games are a waste of time, just remind them you're basically doing mental gymnastics with better graphics. So maybe gaming isn't all about isolating ourselves from the world. Maybe it's how the world connects now. And that's what makes me wonder. If gamers are now older, wiser, and more diverse than ever before, does that make video games the new universal language, or just proof that none of us are really ever logging off anytime soon? So let's go ahead and dive into the comments around the new survey from the Entertainment Software Association with the following. And this one reads, when millennials go to a retirement home, we will have LAN parties instead of bingos. I must admit, I'm surprised about half being women. It doesn't feel like it at all. Why? Why does it not feel like that to people? Do you feel that same way? I mean, I feel like the growth of video games, it might have been a niche at the time, with the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance, and, maybe not everybody wanted those devices, and, everybody kind of settled in front of the TV with the consoles. But as time progressed, more video games come to the mobile phones, and when you do that, it's like a Phantom Pulse, or iPhones and our Androids. You know what I mean? When we're bored waiting in line at the DMV or waiting for our coffee to go at Starbucks, you might flip open your phone and go play a round of Duolingo. And you might not even think Duolingo's a game, but of course it is. It's a learning experience to get you to teach you to learn another language, but they're trying to make you have fun because that's the pull and the drag to get you back into the app, right? And so, of course, this is clearly changing as time progresses. And then the next comment reads, oh gosh, you're not a real gamer. Level 300 in Candy Crush, for Christ's sake? A puzzle game? What a joke. My ass off to beat Halo 2 on Legendary, and you play these baby games and you think you're my peer? You do what I do because you match some colors around and get points. I committed thousands of hours to this. You don't just slide into it like one of your stupid ass combos. Gaming is sacred. We should have gate kept you while we had the chance. Oh my gosh. Is that how some people feel? Is there just this just feels like when I'm talking to some homies about the heavy metal scene. It's like, no, that's thrash metal, no, that's metalcore, that's black metal, this is that, no, this is elite, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's new metal, that's not, that's butt rock, that's your dad's ass crack metal. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Metal is metal. Gaming is gaming. I feel like you can never win sometimes with people. And then another one says, oh gosh, level 100 in Candy Crush and a level 100 in Elden Ring are two different things. And inside the meme reads, corporate needs you to find the difference between this gaming and this gaming. And then the ESA will say, they're the same gaming. I understand that there are Dark Soul games that will definitely test your patience and test your limits beyond a quirky game that's kind of meant to jump in for a minute or two, maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and then bounce out. I get it. It's not an MMO either. But it is also intriguing to know that there's so many people that just feel like puzzle games or role-playing games or just even skill and chance games, strategy games. What else am I not thinking? Simulations. Those aren't video games? Really? Okay. And then the title should really be, the average age of people who'd bother responding to a survey and also play games sometimes is 41. That's pretty funny. So I thought the Gen Xers were leaning up against the wall smoking their stogies. How could they be a part of this? They're not in front of the PCs all the time, are they? I don't know. Call it a friend. But also, the minimal age for the survey is 16 years old, which is widely skews the statistics, since I are tons of children who game. Most friends I know started when they were like 7 and 10, which is a very, very true point. Yeah, the ESA, 16 years or younger are not a part of this survey. I'm sure that would definitely change and fluctuate the numbers drastically when it comes to the age comparison, but I don't think much different when it comes to male and females. I think it's pretty freaking dead on in the middle. But if we did have a new reporting or a follow-up on this report, do you think it would really get flop-sided back to the men? I don't know. I'm calling a gamer. And then we also got another comment here, if I can find it. There we are. On the average. In a way, it makes sense. I'm 41 and was born the year the NES came out and revitalized the industry. This is the generation that grew up with this from day one. You know? It's a great point. I didn't even really think about that. Yeah. You guys were the ones at the arcade cabinet standing straight up playing your video games, and then you got lucky to bring that bad boy home inside the living room. You ain't lying. And then the last comment that reads, too long, don't read. People over 50 predominantly played cell phone games, and people under 35 predominantly played console/PC. And 36 to 39 years old have an existential crisis right now. And then the 40 and 49-year-olds have existential crisis over this comment. And then, man, I'm 40. I'm nearly every day is an existential crisis. Oh my Lance, you guys are all so funny on Reddit. Got to love it. But I also am seeing a comment here. Let's see if I can get it up this handy dandy. We got Zacho Man Gaming that says, kind of with you here. Max Prestige feeling hit hard, but some people get that hype on other things. No kink shaming here. There you go. There you have it. But hey, you know, this is where I want to leave it for you, the gamers. If gamers are older, wiser, and more diverse than ever, when does society finally stop treating gaming like a phase and start admitting it's just life on hard mode? Let me know what's good. But man, this next topic that I'm about to discuss, I have been telling y'all for many, many seasons now that this was going to be happening very, very soon. And now I get to finally report that it is. Okay? So this is a wild one to some. But yeah, Netflix has games, okay? The actual games, okay? And if you didn't know that, don't worry. Netflix didn't either, apparently. They've had games for 4 years, but they've been hiding them like it's some unlockable achievement you only find by accident while doom scrolling. Until now. Netflix just announced that its games are finally coming to your television, meaning the same screen that you binge true crime documentaries on will soon host your digital party nights. And the first big title, well, it got announced. Lego Party, a brick-built take on the Mario Party formula. Normally, Lego Party costs around $40, but this holiday season, Netflix subscribers get it as part of their plan, which means you can lose friends and family for free, because you know shit's about to go down in Lego Party. But that's not the only game you're going to get. Netflix is going full party mode with its first wave, Pictionary Game Night, Boggle Party, Tetris Time Warp, and Party Crashers. Fool your friends. Basically, every game that has ever ended with someone yelling, dude, that doesn't count, is making its way to your living room. And you'll use your phone as a controller, which sounds fun until you realize that your battery's at 3% halfway through the match. But hey, at least when someone throws the controller this time, it's your $1,200 smartphone. And yeah, Netflix says that they're focusing on 4 main categories: games for kids, games for parties, mainstream hits like Grand Theft Auto, and games based on Netflix originals like Stranger Things. And yeah, Netflix swears this is just the beginning. They've even started beefing up their cloud servers because apparently buffering live sports wasn't stressful enough. And honestly, with games like GTA San Andreas and Football Manager already tucked inside the mobile app, and Hades at one point, I think it's still on there, the potential's there. They just need to, literally tell anyone about it. That's their problem. And so here's my question for you, the gamers. If Netflix starts nailing game night, are we looking at a new challenger to the 4 horsemen of gaming? Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo? Or is Netflix just coming for the real end game? Family, game night itself. And so that really got people discussing online. Actually, not at all. That's the funny thing. This report has been going around, but this is what's going to make it so great, because I was digging in from the past year about what people have been saying about Netflix gaming. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. I haven't tried any of the ones in the Netflix app on my TV. Yeah, they were like really, really shitty ones, not the ones that they're now pushing now. I mean, it wasn't even really a TV game, to be honest with you. Everything was through the app. But your Netflix subscription includes tons of mobile games, and I played quite a few because they're all ad-free with no microtransactions. And they include some legit games, too, like Civilization 6, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, Spiritfarer, Hades, etc. Also, as I mentioned, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is also on there as well. And yeah, I mean, it's a little difficult to play Grand Theft Auto on the mobile phone, I gotta say. But with the Bluetooth technology and being able to link, let's say a PS4 or PS5 controller, or even attach a backbone to your iPhone or Android, makes this potential even more realistic. And so, yeah, they've been putting so much focus on the mobile app, and I think Netflix is starting to realize, man, if we can really really hone this thing down and really get the cloud servers going in the way that we can push towards these publishers to potential. I mean, could you imagine if a Nintendo game shows up on Netflix one of these days? Would that really be breaking the cycle? You know what I mean? Am I living in an alternate reality? Did I get pushed in by Argus into a new life with the Peacemaker? What is going on? That would be crazy. And then not all of them are actually Netflix games. They're just games that you can play for free if you have Netflix. I played Dead Cells and BTD6, quote unquote, for free. Yeah, I mean, nothing's actually free. You have to have a subscriber base. But you know what's a bit scary about that? And I'm sure my parents and others that don't play video games are going to be very, very upset, because Netflix is going to be like all things interactive media. Movies, television, live music, live sports. I think even next year, if I'm not mistaken, Netflix has the rights to showcase the MLB season opener, which is, you know what I mean? So they are expanding the horizon massively for their company. And, old school Hollywood, you guys got better watch out. I mean, these guys are moving in fast and they ain't stopping, they're shredding every kind of blade of grass right now. And then you also get, dude, could you imagine some kid playing on that? But that was from 2023, but that is really, really freaking hilarious. But I don't know if that would be too surprising. But then most of the games are high quality and famous indie games, also viable on Steam at various prices, ranging from $5 to $30. So it's a big plus, I guess. But again, this was from a year ago. Now they're pushing Lego Party that's going to be coming out for $40. And if you're on the fence about even wanting to pay $40 and you have a Netflix subscription, or maybe you don't have a Netflix subscription, you might want to pay, gosh, how much is Netflix nowadays? $15.99, I think. I can't remember. Call it a friend here. It's, you might be convinced to be like, you know what? I wanted to play that game, but I'd rather just go to Netflix, and then all of a sudden you get hooked on watching their series and shows, and now they got you for a whole full year. I think that's the idea. And then this follow-up comment reads, I mean, Hades included for quote-unquote free on your phone is wild. I love their push for premium games. Apple made a whole damn category for the same thing. It still feels like Netflix's push is better in bringing quality games. But hey, there's no more Apple TV Plus. It's Apple TV. And don't be surprised either if Apple starts to try to swindle some deals with the other cool cats in the scene to try to bring you some of your favorite gaming titles to their platform. And then for me, Netflix games is far superior to Apple Arcade. Who the hell uses Apple Arcade? Does anybody actually use Apple Arcade? I mean, I always laugh when I'm on my iPhone and I see the little game feature when I'm in my text message section of the app, and it's like, are we really doing that? I mean, I feel like people did that like maybe 5 years ago to maybe flirt with the chick or something, and you're like, hey, it's your turn to shoot the shot in billiards, and then you play like 1 or 2 games, and then she's not interested in you because she's not finishing the game. And then that's when, you got to settle the score and you just got to cut ties. And next, Netflix does such a bad job promoting this service, which is terrific stuff. It is a huge value add for Netflix, and you'd hardly know about it by how the company prioritizes it. Well, now that has all changed now. Yep, Netflix is really, really pushing forward. And, just another follow-up thing is that, Epic Games, there used to be a gentleman named Alan Taskin. He used to be he is the head of Netflix's gaming business. He joined along for them back in July 2024 to help reboot the company's strategy and break the Hollywood curse when it comes to games. And that was his first offering by providing these games to your mobile phone, hoping that would attract a lot more users. And now clearly they feel like they're now in a position to bring you more legit video games to your TV. I think it's pretty dope. But then again, I want to ask you this question, gamers. If Netflix can get people to rage at Pictionary the same way they rage in Call of Duty, are we witnessing the birth of a new console war or just the world's most expensive digital board game night? Let me know what's good. But yeah, I got another one here for you. Let me break it down, because you ever stop and wonder how much should a video game actually cost to make? Because lately it feels like we're spending more money rendering a single blade of grass than entire studios are worth. And that question came up again after a massive leak from Pokemon developer Game Freak spilled the Pokebeans, and no, not that kind that evolves Eevee. Turns out their biggest games cost shockingly little compared to modern AAA budgets. And so, as you can see on screen, according to the leak, Pokemon Sword and Shield came in around $16 million, Legends about $14 million, and Scarlet and Violet around $21 million. I mean, that's basically lunch money in game development these days. And for comparison, you might have heard of, the Black Ops series, between 2015 and 2020, reportedly cost anywhere between $450 to $700 million to make. And that's not game development. That's NASA-level funding to make sure your gun reload animation is going to look real sexy in 4K. And even, let's step away from even that. Let's go into Sony's Ghost of Tsushima, for example. That was around $60 million, which sounds modest until you realize Game Freak made 3 Pokemon games for a third of that and still couldn't render a tree without it looking like a green triangle from Minecraft. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And yet, despite all the complaints about Pokemon's graphics, yeah, you're not booting up a Pokemon game to marvel at the Lightning, engine. Nintendo and Game Freak, just keep printing money like it's 1999. Scarlet and Violet could have more bugs than a Florida summer. And fans would still line up for a DLC where Pikachu learns emotional depth. And meanwhile, developers across the industry are collapsing under the weight of their own massive budgets. Studios keep shutting down, layoffs are hitting hard, and yet we're told it's all in pursuit of a bigger, better games. But let's be honest. More money doesn't always mean more fun. Sometimes it just means more ray tracing on your character's sweaty forehead. And you know what? Maybe that's why Nintendo and Game Freak keep winning. They're not chasing photorealism or obsessing over how many pores a character model can have. They just keep doing what works, and somehow it works every single time. And so, here's the question, gamers. Would you rather play a $700 million masterpiece that kills the studio, or a $20 million Pokemon game where Pikachu still blinks like it's 2005, but at least the developers live to make another one? I don't know, you tell me. But I know this got people really, really fired up, and so let's break it down with the first. I'm not a Pokemon fan, so to me, the more interesting part of this leak is finally getting confirmation at just how cheap Nintendo, Game Freak, and the Pokemon Company is. ZNA's budget is only $13 million, and the next-gen Pokemon is only $20 million. Not a shocking revelation at all with how laughably bad these games have looked and ran, but it's nice to finally have a number to put to it. The highest grossing IP in the world spends less on their games than Expedition 33 cost. That is insane. I mean, think about how wild that is. And then we got Zacko Man Gaming joining again. Wouldn't buying games while you're paying for an... Oh, this was back from earlier. Gotcha. Well, might as well comment on it, Zacko Man Game. I'm sorry I missed this one. Wouldn't buying games while you're paying for a Netflix subscription be considered microtransaction? I think that's a good point. I think that's very much a good point. It can be. Possibly. Do you view it like that when it comes to cloud gaming? Well, let's get back to the topic of conversation because, yeah, I mean, you just see that if you put a little bit more money, I mean, you look at how beautiful Ghost of Yotei is. I mean, there's even reports that they spend the same amount of money for the follow-up sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. And just look at how beautiful the scenery is there. Don't you all wish we had a Pokemon game like that? Don't y'all? Without having to spend $80, $90, or $100 for the video game? Wouldn't you like that? I'd like to think we would. That's why I have such a major gripe about having to spend that much money for Mario Kart World. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. They're banking on nostalgia. And then, as the other commenter said, $20 million for the main game is the biggest media franchise on the effing planet. Is laughably cheap. Look at what Expedition 33 could do with the same amount. Look at what Ghost of Yotei could do with the similar amount. Is 10 of the 20 million going to consultants? Why is the game quality still so ass? Yeah, you're probably right. It probably is. And, also to take into consideration when it comes to, Nintendo, there were reports that, back in 2021, they were focusing on investing in the hardware in 2021, the Japanese game maker revealed that it spent $880 million on research and development costs for its software and hardware. So, the idea that Nintendo skimp on cost across the board just isn't true. It's just that they don't invest nearly as much as they do into the video games. And back in 2021, for instance, Miyamoto said that Nintendo needed to sell about 2 million copies of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild to recover the cost of production. You know what I mean? So it's, you wonder sometimes whether some of that stuff is even factually based or not. And then you also get comments like this. This is conflicting. On one hand, they have some good stuff planned that would make any Pokemon fan excited. But on the other hand, they have not been putting the correct amount of effort into their games for some time now. And it makes me sad. I've been playing indie games made by small teams that have better graphics, fully voice acting, more content, and little to no technical issues compared to any recent Pokemon game. Why can't a multi-billion-dollar company do justice to the games? Some people say, their games will sell regardless, so that's why they put little effort, but that doesn't make it any less weird that they choose to resources to do better. Yeah, I know. It does seem very, very, very weird choice. But then again, they're probably also loving live because they know you, the gamers, are always constantly getting suckered into the next Pokemon adaptation. And they're like, well, why change what's not broken, right? It's like that kind of a philosophy. Until you start protesting with your wallet, nothing's going to change anytime soon. And then another comment that reads, maybe they'll be able to hit 30 frames per second consistently by 2030. I mean, some of the leaks online, especially on X, you will see that there is an image out there. I don't know how legit it is, because even to be real, I mean, this could be all a bunch of nonsense too, but it even seems more validated today considering even how Pokemon even suffered through the Terra leaks, earlier in the year, and and even the idea that even Nintendo and Game Freak, seemed to respond to the issue, but also wouldn't admit what was real or not. And a lot of times you look through a lot of these documents and it's like, I don't know how anybody can forge this to make this look like it's not real. You know what I mean? But then again, we do have amazing AI technology that can finesse everybody, I suppose. But yeah, crazy. But yeah, there's a beautiful rendition of the game that Pokemon is potentially working on, and I can tell you right now, doesn't look like it was paid for $20 million budget towards their next AAA video game. So maybe there's hopes in the horizon. And then I refuse to let Game Freak or Nintendo get me hyped for Pokemon. I know it's going to be a low effort and low budget, despite selling so much. Yeah, it's almost like they're more focused on the Pokemon trading card universe or going back to the mobile app, Pokemon Go, to get people excited all over again for the Pokemon universe. Because, I mean, even ZNA is not even out yet, and it's already, like, getting, bad reviews. Bad reviews already. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, fans are already, like, believing that the game underwent, this massive downgrade with their graphics. And, and then you start looking at the trailer to ZNA and you start to see a variety of the textures have been, like, flattened out or they're muddier. A lot of the buildings are very, they all look the same. They're all very similar. And you would think that, with the Pokemon universe, there is so much opportunity to make this thing so much more visually impressive. I just don't understand why they don't see that. And then the last comment I got here is 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030. Do the same thing, do the same thing, do the same thing, do the same thing. Do the same freaking thing over and over and over again. So here's my question for gamers. Would you rather play a $700 million blockbuster that shuts down its studios after launch? Or do we actually believe that? Do you think they get shut down? Or a $20 million Pokemon game that still looks like it's from the Wii era, but keeps the lights on for the next generation? Let me know what's good. But man, this has been such a fantastic time, and I can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And I just want to give a shout out to the QR code here. Like, share, subscribe. This QR code will send you directly to my YouTube channel. So what are you waiting for? You know the drill, fam. And also, co-host HenricK, he is out this week, but also want to let y'all know that the homeboy is always dropping weekly content over on his YouTube channel as well. So show some love and send a comment his way. I know he would very much appreciate it and respond to you. And it looks like we got one last comment here from Zacho Man Gaming again. Killer show, brother. I appreciate you. I always appreciate all the fans always commenting live during the show. You guys make this show that much more exciting to jump on a weekly basis. So thank you guys so much. And for now, I will see you next week, fam. Enjoy yourself. Be good. Be safe. And